All right, guys, we're live now. Good evening, everyone. Want to trust we are good today. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So, who's live? Put it in the comment section that you could see live and where you're joining in from. This is David Obinya right here, and we're going to have an interesting conversation this evening. We are bringing down to a wrap our conversations around academic performance, academic excellence, and all that. So, we are bringing our conversation to a landing by this remaining two series. We started the conversation talking about why we need to pursue academic excellence. We talked about the motivation. We talked about the mindset required to attain academic excellence, how you need to think, and how you need to feel and believe if you must ever attain academic excellence. We talked about the method that is required to attain academic excellence, and now we are done with the motive, the mindset, and the method. We are now discussing about exams. Some of you will be writing your exam somewhere next month, some 2 months time. So just to wrap up this conversation we've been having, it is really good to talk about exams. So we'll have um, we're going to talk about the truth about exams today, and tomorrow we will talk about how to prepare and approach your exams. How to prepare and approach your exams. So I'm seeing Priska from Port Harcourt. Interesting. Yeah, the investment Priska. Good to see you here. So, talking about exams. Exams is one of those subjects that whenever it's mentioned to a student, you know it increases their blood pressure. Every student talks and thinks about exams, and the mention of the word exams brings a very very negative feeling, and not just feeling but experience to most students. I saw a meme one time that says, um, you have taught me, I think it was in the vernacular language, you have taught me something, and I said, I understand. So, what's bringing about the need for examination again? So, exam is one of those things that does not occur well just hearing the name, and students do all kinds and all manner of stuff about, for, and in a bid to scale through exams. And one of the things that they do is that they experience fever, they experience fear, they experience laybackness, they experience lack of motivation to continue and go forward, sometimes with their academics as a result of exams at all levels of education. So, why is that? They have very wrong approach and attitude to exams. You see things like examination malpractice and all kinds of stuff. The rise in examination malpractice have actually increased drastically. Like the kind of methods and patterns with which you do examination malpractice these days is incredible. And the higher you go in the levels of learning, the higher you see all kinds of methods. When I was in undergraduate, I knew of exam malpractice. I knew people who do it. When I started a postgraduate program, they did it in the postgraduate way. Like, they have the way of doing it in a more sophisticated manner as you go up. You see people using things like smartwatch and all that. So that's because most times we don't know the truth about exams, what exams are, the essence of exam, the purpose of exam. And it's not just for students. Even the examiner, the person setting and giving exams, ought to understand what the whole truth about exam is, so that we just stop this fear that we propagate as a result of exams. So this conversation is hinged upon the fact that examination malpractice rises and falls upon the lack of the truth about exam by the examiner and the person who receives the exams. If they know the truth, they will do better as regards to exams. So I said as an introduction that most students cringe in fear and fever because they lack understanding of what exams is. So let's define the concept of exams. In my own terms, exams comes from the Latin word examiner, and that simply means to weigh. It means to test. It means to measure by a standard. How do I explain this now? I wish I had a ruler. Just imagine, for instance, that this was a ruler. Imagine, for instance, that this was a ruler. So by this yardstick, I use I use this as a ruler to measure this, to know, as compared to this distance, how far did this go in comparison to this distance. Follow my train of thought. Exam is from the Latin word which means examiner, and it means to measure. Let's use that word, to measure this thing with this thing. So exam is that tool which you use to check the measurement of something. Exam is a tool to check or to measure something. Exam is a tool to measure something. So exam is basically measuring the level of a person's learning, measuring the degree of a person's learning. The whole essence of school, as we have discussed, ought to be that you have learned. You have learned an information. You have learned to do something. You have learned a skill. And so exam comes in as a means. Pay attention to that word. A means, just one means to measure, to check, to measure to what degree have you learned it. If this from here to the end of the span is the perfect scale of learning, excellent perfect scale of learning, I am using this scale as a tool called exam to check upon this perfect scale. How well have you learned? Have you learned from here to here? That's 50%. Have you learned from here to here? That's 70. Have you learned from here to here? That's absolute perfection. That's 100. What degree, what measure, what skill have you learned? Have you mastered that which was taught? So if a teacher understands well what exams is, so he teaches well and explains to the people that I'm not giving exams to scare you, to wound you, to make you worse than you are, but I'm rather just using it to measure. It's just a tool of measure. Years before now, in primary, secondary school, if a child is given an exam a time or two and he doesn't perform well, an advice is given to the parents to take the child back so that those knowledge, those learning he should have are embedded. Then he checks again and then he does better before he goes ahead to progress, to learn other things and higher things. But unfortunately, it's not so today. Today, you get people to write it. If you as a teacher teaches somebody something, and then you get another person to measure whether, another person is entirely writing the exam for what another person learned, are you really measuring the degree of learning? You're measuring a different thing or a different person. You're not measuring the one who learns. And so, if we understand that exam is not to wound us, exam is not to disgrace us, exam is not to shame us, exam is to just measure how far we have learned, and so that we can progress in learning. Take note. So, I've been able to explain what exam means from its root word and its applicable meaning. So exam is nothing but a means of measuring the level of someone's knowledge and comprehension about something that is learned. Now, it's noteworthy to point out that exam is not a test of a person's potential. Exam is not something you use to measure what a person can do. That means because a person didn't do well in exam does not mean the person cannot do well or that the person is bad. This is very critical. Exams does not measure. Exams does not measure potential. Potential is what you could do. Nobody can actually tell what a person can do. So, give an exam for reading, for instance, and a person does not read well or they didn't come out well in the exams of reading, that does not mean to say that the person don't have ability to read. It just means he has not learned well the skills and techniques of reading. It does not mean the person is dumb. This is very critical both for students and teachers, because sometimes students interpret their performances in exam as to say that because I didn't do well in this reading course or reading exams, then I am useless. Then I can't do it at all. No, it just shows that you have not learned properly. You need to go back and learn well, right? So, what's the purpose of exam? I haven't understood what exam is. Why then do we give exams? Examination is basically a means of measuring, a means of assessing a person's level of learning. The essence or the purpose for examination, therefore, is to measure or assess learning. Never forget this. The reason why we take and give exams is just to assess the degree of learning. The reason why we give exams is just to measure the level and the degree of learning. What else is the purpose of exams? There are a couple of them I have here. Exams are given to measure the effectiveness of a person's learning. Exams are not intended to frustrate or embarrass you. Take note of that. I'm repeating this. Exams are not the purpose for exam is not to embarrass you. The purpose of exam is not to frustrate you. The purpose of exam is not to quote unquote wicked you. No, the purpose of exam is just to measure how much you have learned something. It's as simple as could be. Complicated. It's as simple as could be. Our lecturers make things complicated. Our teachers just make it complex. The whole purpose is just to measure. Exams motivate you to increase in knowledge. Exams actually, in a real sense, supposed to motivate the learner to increase. I don't know if the network is still clear. Please, as much as you can, let me know that you can still hear me and you can still see me very clearly. So I was still enumerating the purpose of exams, why it is given, and I said that it is to motivate you to increase in comprehension and in knowledge. How? Because you everybody who will take an exam is somebody who has learned something, a specific body of knowledge, and so he knows that the essence of exam is to measure how well he has learned that. So to prove and to perform well, you need to really go and learn and understand and comprehend the subject matter well. So, if not for exams, you would not truly go and comprehend that which you have learned, or at least know it enough to have it in your head to write. Okay? Exams helps you to exercise self-discipline. Is it not beautiful? There are benefits and gains to exams. It helps you to instill self-discipline because in the process of preparing to perform well, you will be exercising discipline over yourself. Exams enable you to build self-confidence and self-reliance. This is the issue that I have. This is the issue that I have against examination malpractice. I don't have any moral issue against it, even though it's morally bad in the sense that you are kind of cheating other the means with which you get your grades or something. Other people are doing it on a fair note, and you are using other kinds of means to get the same grade with them. So you're literally cheating them. But more than that, and then some people who are Christians say, "Oh, you go to a hellfire and God will punish you," and all kinds of stuff because of exam malpractice. My own perspective is how much it reduces from you, how much it reduces your self-esteem, how much it makes you feel less of yourself. Just imagine this, for instance. A student has the capacity to study and to understand and to take exams and do well. And the student also understands that my performance in exam does not show what I can actually do. I see myself, for instance, as an A student. So if I write an exam and I get a C or a B, I still believe I'm an A student, only that I probably didn't read properly or I didn't read strategically for that particular exam. Now, me, if myself who believe that I could do well and perform well in any intellectual exercise, instead of me to start exercising my capacity to do well in an exam, I carry the same time and energy to start storing, some information that I think will come in exam on small notes, chips, write it on my skirt, on my all kinds of effort, energy people put, creativity people put in just in a bid to do exam malpractice. Little do they know that they are reading themselves. So the unsaid effect is that you start feeling you can't face an exam by yourself. You can't face an internal exam by yourself. Oh, external exam is worse. How about the interviews you're going to go when you graduate? How about the jobs? How about other forms of measurement of what you have learned? How are you going to deal with that? Are you going to do exam malpractice in life? Because life would definitely test you. Challenges and issues that comes in life are actually exams. We call it test this time. They'll come to challenge. Have you really learned well? Have you really learned well to deal with people? You will see tough people. Have you really learned well to negotiate? You will see negotiation deals. So how do you do in that case? Are you going to do exam malpractice through life? So it's taking and stealing of your self-confidence when you carry all you can be and all you can do and channel the energy to doing wrong. Why not channel it to do right at once? Next is that exam helps you to develop the intellectual skills because you will take an exam, and anybody who will take an exam wants to do well. You find yourself going to work on yourself to develop the intellectual rigor. Every one of us have in the intellect, and we have intellectual potentials. However, not every one of us have intellectual skills. Skills are different from potential. Every human has the potential to reason, but not every human has the skill of reasoning. That's a word right there for you. Everyone can reason, but not everyone knows how to reason because you have not developed it. You have the potential to do it, but you have not honed the skills and ability to use that potential which you have. So exams help you for you to do well. Remember, everyone who would take an exam desires to do well. And to do well the right way, you will find yourself honing and developing your intellectual skills. Therefore, you can say it is safe for us to say that exams actually helps you to develop your intellectual skills. Another point is that exams allow you to progress in learning. Exams allow you to progress in your journey of learning. Learning never ends, and learning is a journey from the known to the unknown. So imagine you need to know ABC before you go to XYZ, and you have not mastered, you've not been able to draw how A is, how B is, how C is, and you leave that and you're going to XYZ, you will not get the foundation. So it is because they are going to test you and measure how well you have learned ABC that allows you progress to go and learn XYZ. So you need to be excited about exams because it helps you to progress in your journey of learning. Can I still be heard? Can I still be seen? I want to believe the network is still favorable. Okay, so finally, exam makes you or helps you to learn very well, to learn effectively. Exams helps you to learn well because you know you will be assessed, because you know you'll be measured, because you know you're learning. Oh Jesus, the attitude you have to learning when you know there's an exam attached to it is different from the attitude you have when there's no exam attached to it. And there's something about the human brain, when it finds that it will be taxed, it gets more serious. You learn better when you know you'll be assessed. So a person who will do go through a form of training or learning and will be assessed will be more serious, will be more woken, will be more committed to his journey and process of learning than the one who knows that he's not going to be checked, he's not going to be assessed, he's not going to be measured in any ways. So he can just, cut corners, he can just miss classes, he can just do anything anyways. So you see that exams are the purpose why people take learning very, very seriously, and learning becomes effective because they are going to be exams. So let me give you 2 or 3 truths that you must remember about exams. Don't forget this as we start wrapping up this conversation in the next 5 to 7 minutes. We're going to be wrapping up. Yep, it's a 30-minute stuff and we're still in 22 minutes. So don't forget these truths about exams. Fundamental. Number one, exams are merely tests. It's just a test. It's just a measure. Exams are nothing more but a measuring of my level of learning. Say to yourself, David, exams are not to hurt me, exams are not to disgrace me, exams are not to frustrate me, exams are just to measure my level of learning. Exams are just to measure how well I've learned. Exams are just to measure. It's not to destroy me. It's not to mess me up. It's to build me. Exams are for my good. We'll get to the point of affirmation after this truth. So exams are just one out of many means of assessing the effectiveness of learning. Exams are just one, or exam is just one out of several means of measuring the effectiveness of learning. What this does for you is that you should understand that exam is not the only means to measure how well a person has learned, but it's just one. It's just one. Why will you be afraid of just one? In some countries and states and some courses, you don't take written exams, you take interviews. That's also another form of assessing or measuring learning. Some you take presentations. There's even the best of all is performance based evaluation instead of exam or written exam based evaluation. Exams are to evaluate. We have put in the content in this person. Let us check, let us evaluate before releasing him. Has the content entered, or we put it and it has disappeared? Let's just check. It's just a tool. Exam is just a tool of evaluation. Okay. Second truth you need to remember and never forget about exams is that exams are for your good. Exams are for your good. Never forget that. Never forget that. I saw a meme again one time that said, "Whoever invented exams, like whoever invented exams," you know. But never forget that exams are for your good. Say it to yourself, exams are for my good. David, exams are for your good. Exams are for you. It's not against you. Exams are for me. Exams are meant to help me and not to frustrate me. They are for my good, they are for my benefit, they are to help me, not to kill me. Just understanding this makes you have the right mindset towards examination, and the right mindset will make you have the right attitude. You are coming to exam smiling, you're coming to exam knowing that, hey, I'm going to do, you're preparing for exam with confidence. You're preparing for it because you have the right attitude about it. Final thing you need to remember about exams is that exams are very easy if you prepare well for it. Oh God. Exams are very easy. Are you kidding me? Yeah, I'm not kidding you. I'm just saying what is. Exams are very, very easy if you prepare well for it. Exams are easy if you prepare well for it. Say to yourself, exams are easy if I prepare well for it. Exams are hard only for those who didn't prepare. So these are essential truths that you need to know, and always allow these three truths be in your consciousness. Tell yourself exams is not war, exams is not a fight, it's just a test. And exams is for my own good. It helps me to grow. It's not to frustrate me, it's not to kill me. And exams are not hard. No, no, no. No exam is hard. No exam is hard. It's only hard for those who didn't prepare well. Exams are easy for me. Say to yourself, exams are easy for me. Exams are easy for me because I prepare well. And this is what we're going to be discussing tomorrow: how to prepare well. How to prepare well. Because if you prepare well, exams are easy. Exams are easy for those who prepare well. Exams are hard for those who don't prepare. But for those who prepare, exams are easy if you prepare well for it. Let me end this conversation by talking to you about affirmations and how it affects your mindset and your confidence in as you prepare for exams. One of the things we discuss in this series also is the mindset for exceptional academic performance. If you've not watched that, you could go in the YouTube channel and find that particular message on the mindset for exceptional academic performance. There's a kind of mindset required for you to perform well. And mindset is where your mind is set, the position and the direction of your mind. Now, to condition and position your mind in a direction, there are some tools that help you to do that. One of the most powerful tools to condition and position your mind or to tweak your mindset is the tool called affirmation. What you keep hearing and hearing and hearing over time, you will believe. If you keep hearing and hearing and hearing the right things, you will believe right. And if you believe right, you will behave right. Belief affects behavior, behavior affects performance. But what affects belief? What you keep saying to yourself, either consciously or unconsciously. That's why affirmations are powerful. And so I have 20 affirmations I created for exam success. I could think how I can give it to my audience for free, or put it in the book and something like that. But I have this affirmations. Let me say some of them. For instance, exams are merely meant to measure how well I've learned. Exams are to prove how well I understand. Exam motivates me. Exams help me exercise discipline. Exams help me to cultivate my self-confidence. Exams help me to develop intellectual skills. Exams are for my good. Exams help me to make progress in learning and all kinds of stuff. You can imagine saying that to yourself over and over again. There's one that one of my mentees told me is her favorite. As bad as it is, bad as it bad, I cannot fail. I can't fail for any exams. I can't. If I'm checking my names on exams, I check in the success list, not the failing list, because I know one of my affirmations is bad as the bad. I cannot fail. I can't. I know where to find my name. I have the intelligent mindset. I possess the capacity to prepare well for exams. Saying this to yourself repeatedly at different intervals while you are doing the action. If you affirm without the proper actions to prepare for your exams, you're still going to fail. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to call this a day here. It was an amazing conversation that I had with you. So tomorrow we're going to continue talking about how then do you prepare well so that exam is easy for you. It was a nice time speaking with you, David Obina, right here. I'll see you on the other side. Peace.